Welcome back to another episode of Brandon While Black. I'm your host, Shanae Washington, and my mission is to educate, empower, and economically develop my people. So, if you're new here, first of all, welcome. So happy to have you here. And also, if you're new here, if you don't know what we're doing, during my podcast episodes, I am going to be reading you passages from my upcoming book called Dear Talentpreneur. The Talentpreneur is you. And I am going to be reading you the passages or the entries, basically my first drafts, right? Of topics that I'm trying to introduce in the book. And I'm using it as content for the podcast, but also using it to kind of get some, feedback in real time to see if these topics, to see if, the information really resonate with my audience. So feedback is appreciated. And before we get into today's episode, if you are not subscribed, go on ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you won't miss anything. So, what are we talking about today? Today, we are talking about starting where you are. And what does that even mean, right? And I'm just going to go on ahead and jump on in and see what you guys think. So, y'all ready? Let's go. Dear Talentpreneur, tell me that I am not the only person this happens to. You see one of your favorite business influencers on Instagram and you think to yourself, damn, I know that I have what it takes to be on that level. I just have to get there. Then your brain starts thinking at super warp speed of ways you can build that same trust with your audience that they have with theirs. This type of thinking can go both ways. It can be both torturous and inspiring all at the same time. On one hand, you're really comparing yourself to someone who has spent more time failing before actually figuring out, what works for their audience. But on the other hand, you are experiencing a beautiful creative brainstorm that has you excited about creating content, offers, and services. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do, right? But I personally think that success is measured in the number of failures and setbacks that you have. How can you possibly know what success looks like for you without knowing what it doesn't look like in terms of your setbacks? It's really just all a part of the journey. But some of your favorite content creators were making videos with little to no views for at least a year before anyone even knew who they were. Think about a popular one, Gary Vee. Like he was making videos, about wine and stuff, and that was a very specific, niche, niche audience, but at first, not a lot of people was looking at his videos, but he just kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. And not everybody knows who Gary Vee is. He's been able to branch off into doing, other things. So, that's how many of our favorite, influencers and, people who we look up to in our industries, that's how many of them start. But the key thing is that they didn't stop. They never stopped and they didn't wait for everything to be perfect. They just went on ahead and did it. If you go back and look at some of like your favorite people on YouTube that that does this kind of content, if you go back and look at their stuff, it looks way different than the stuff that they're doing now, right? Because they were able to level up as they gain momentum and as they gain success. But most of all, they started where they were. And I think what truly sets thriving entrepreneurs apart is the fact that they don't care what anybody else thinks of them. They have a vision, they have a goal, and a purpose. That's the only thing that matters. Instead of focusing on how many followers they have, they're paying attention to their engagement and their reach. That's when they start to fine tune their content and build that know, like, and trust qualities with their audience. So, I'm going to give you an example of somebody kind of starting where they were. Perfect example. So, Jay-Z, he just got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And we all know Jay-Z. Hov is one of the most successful businessmen of our time. But during his speech, he basically narrated the journey of his early career, right? But there are a few things that really stood out in his acceptance speech for me. He said that as he set out on his journey in hip hop, he started writing his raps in a green notebook given to him by his mother. He then went out to the rap battles to try them out. And he even said, looking back on them now, he said they were really trash. But even then, he knew that he would be one of the greatest. After he recorded his demo, he said that he went to every single record label out. And they all said that his shit was trash. Then he said something where the light bulb went off. He said, but the audacity of hip hop, we didn't believe them. I, for not 1 second, got depressed. For 1 second, I didn't change my course. He was like, we're going to create our own company. And y'all, I mean, the rest is history, right? But, that part of the grind, in my opinion, is the most important part of all of our entrepreneurial journeys. Like the grit, the determination, and honestly, just the belief and the faith of, like, that's all you have to get you through the no's, the, creating content, for no viewers, basically. Launching a product or a service to basically no one, and just all of the sacrifices that owning a business cause us to make sometimes. He didn't have much. He started where he was at in that moment. We're gonna make mistakes along the way, but man, when you come out of that thing on the other side, like when you come out of that struggle with more knowledge, wisdom, and a different perspective, your whole mood and vibe is going to be different. You're going to move different. You're going to talk different. But you just have to start. Being an entrepreneur, I mean, is not a glamorous lifestyle. Although you're not punching a clock for someone else and building their dream, you still have to work hard to gain the true freedom that being a boss could bring. You still got to work for it. So let's start breaking this down a little bit. How can you actually start where you are? First, I'm going to talk about the main barrier that, like, what I hear all the time from, fellow entrepreneurs that's, trying to get everything up and going. And that is the lack of money, right? I'm sorry to break it to you, but it has been proven that very successful businesses can start from absolutely nothing. So that excuse that you're making, that I don't have the money to do this, I don't have the money to do that, I can't do this, I need a website, I need this, I need that. All of that is excuses. The question is, what are you willing to sacrifice to get there? For example, if you're working a job, let them be your investor. They don't have to know they're investing in your business, but use where you're at to your advantage to get to where you want to be. Budget for the equipment and the software that you need. I wish that I would have done that sooner. And to be honest, for me personally, I did not start truly investing in equipment and software and stuff that I needed for my business until I turned in my resignation. Like, that was it. Like, I turned in my resignation. I gave them maybe about like 3 months notice or so, because I was a director, at the time. So I didn't want to, leave them high and dry and stuff. So anyway, I gave them like 3 months notice, and I used the money. I was still paying my bills, but I was setting aside money and buying equipment while I was still there. So it wouldn't be so much of a struggle, right? But I could tell you one thing: it felt really good that I didn't have to struggle to get my starter equipment. And y'all, all I bought a camcorder. Um, I bought a video capture card. I bought some HDMI cords. Um, some portable hard drives, some memory cards. Um, you know, tripods, and well, I bought one tripod and some XLR cords. That was it. And that's all I really needed to just get started, right? Because I already own like Adobe Creative Suite. Like I paid a monthly subscription for it already because that's what I was doing or whatever. But eventually I was able to, upgrade some of the equipment and just add components to it as I, made more money and as I started to figure out the different things I need to enhance the quality of my work. And, it just came with time. And I spent maybe around 3 grand. Which honestly in the creative world that's really hardly anything. Um, so I was willing to buy things secondhand, just until I was able to, afford to buy it brand new. I took really good care of, of the equipment and stuff. And now, I'm able to buy more expensive things and new. And it was a process. It was a process to get there. And I'm gonna tell you one thing else. I had something else that did not require money. I created an experience for my clients. That was the key. Even though I didn't have much equipment, I offered my expertise and years of experience, to help my clients achieve, whatever goals that they had. And it was priceless, and it still is. It's still priceless, and that's still my selling point to this day. People don't become a client of mine because of the type of equipment that I have. They become a client because of me, because of what I personally am bringing to the table, the value that I'm going to bring to them and to their business. And it's me. I am my business, and it didn't have to be purchased. before I opened my agency, Dream Forward. So, moral of the story, you just got to start. No matter where you at, no matter what your position is, financially, you're single mom, single dad, um, you just gotta start. You just gotta start, period. Just stop making excuses and just start. Period. All right, you guys. So that is the message of the day. Thank you so much for listening, and please interact with me for more on Instagram. That's where I'm at these days. I am at Shanae J. Washington, and you can find me pretty much anywhere. I'm on all of the platforms, but I mostly hang out on Instagram every day. So, once again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And also, if you are a service based business, I am putting together a platform that's going to have a whole bunch of resources for you guys, and I'm going to have it super ready for you way before 2022 gets here, so you can get a head start on making your 2022 profitable, sustainable, and just all around like bomb.com. So anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Same time, same place.